we were founded like at 3 a.m. this morning. So we're like 17 hours old. One of the oldest communities in Copenhagen.
So everybody stand up and let's just jump for like 5-10 seconds. Do that, yeah? Good. All right. Good. And give a hug to whoever you're next to. Give a hug. Come on. Hug it out, hug it out, hug it out, hug it out, hug it out. Good. Yes.
Denmark is the fourth innovative country in the world, and Copenhagen has around 400 startups. Nowadays, the entrepreneurship is the new rock and roll. In most regular professions, it takes 10-20 years to rise up. Whereas an entrepreneur, you can go from nobody whom no one wanted to meet to worth millions in weeks. Unfortunately, 70% of all these new attempts fail within 2 years. Friday, on the 21st of November, at the Grå Hal in Christiania, 1,000 people participated at the fourth meeting of Copenhagen For the Win. The project aims to strengthen the startup ecosystem of Copenhagen, being the biggest tech beat in Denmark. Established 1 year ago as a fund that aims to improve the entire startup scene in Copenhagen, entrepreneurs, investors, community builders, and startup lovers gathered together in the same room and work out ways to improve Copenhagen's entrepreneurial ecosystem.
Luckily, a lot of people have been backing this up and helped making it happen.
Basically, what we need to do is we have to hire each other much more. We have to invest in each other. We have to learn each other, and we have to help each other much more.
Several speakers shared their experience about early stages of their projects. First of them was Torvald Stisen, CEO of Momondo.dk. He presented the early stages of the flight search engine and impediments that he found across the way. He talked about the 3 stages of every startup. The childhood of startup 1 to 2 years, which is the developing stage where it is not necessarily to hunt for money. Youth of the startup or market stage 2 to 3 years, where is defined the mission of the project, and adulthood, where the massive growth happens. He described the emotional timetable between these 3 important stages. All startups go through same stage of emotion. They start excited, all eager to develop the product, and at some point failing into emotions, finding fabulous excuses. Torvald thinks that a great idea is approximately worth a good bottle of wine, not more than this. It's all about execution and the ability to do things rapidly.
Started Vivino 4 years ago, and we're extremely proud to say that today we are by far the largest wine community that has ever existed. In the 9,000 years of winemaking, this has never happened before. So we now have 7 million users of the app. Every day we get 250,000 photos sent from our users, pictures of wine, amazing activity and an amazing community. Take a photo of a wine list in a restaurant, and we will overlay the reviews and ratings of those wines. So now you can actually not look like an idiot. Vivino is the story of the ugly duckling, but I thought that was a bit too classic, and we're in Copenhagen, so we all know that, so I'm going to do a new version of it, which is George Clooney. When we launched Vivino, it was a fucked up product. It did not work, and it was ugly. Ugly as hell, and anyone who saw our product 2 years ago will definitely agree with me. I want Vivino to be this lighthouse for Copenhagen. I want Vivino to be one of those success stories that we can point to as a community and convince investors that Copenhagen is fantastic, we can do amazing things, and they should come to us and they should check out all the great stuff we're doing. And I think that can be, for all the startups in Copenhagen, something that we can strive towards.
So I'm Mathias Dalsgaard, I'm CEO and co-founder of GoMore, which is a car sharing. We have it here. So when people have empty seats in the car, they offer the seat for sale on GoMore, and people will go book it as if they booked a train or a bus ticket. It's become very popular in Denmark over the last 1 to 2 years, and when they don't use the car, they can rent it out through the peer-to-peer car rental system that we have. If you cannot afford to buy a car, or if you think it's just too risky that you have to make a bank loan, or you have to somehow save up the money yourself, before you're ready to buy the car, you can now lease a car with no down payment and just start renting it out, meaning that you can actually achieve, you can obtain to have a car for free if you rent it out enough times, if you don't rent it out that much. you can just have a car very, inexpensive.
Okay, so we built 24 Video because we wanted companies and organizations to have better tools in order to do online video sharing. So that's all about kind of taking the video and actually kind of getting that out of the box of video sharing. So it's not just about kind of having a video embedded in your web page, click and play and click and pause. It's about how do you actually build this into your website, how do you build dedicated full video websites around your content, custom players, custom features, custom uploads, control and access for your users, and a lot of kind of API integrations, a lot of basically feature control and branding around what we're doing. So we've seen pretty great results from this. We have 400 organizations that are using our product around the world. We are in 22 countries by now, working with roughly 160 partners. And we're basically seeing our product being used by everything from small startups to very big organizations that uses everything from content marketing, corporate communication, internal communication, e-commerce, media, and a lot of other stuff. Are we able to build with our tool, with 24 Video, a better way of getting people in the door by basically growing our customers' audiences, by retaining that audience, by engaging that, by building better storytelling through better ways of using corporate video, and the end in having better return on investment on whatever is happening on the video strategies that our customers have.
For those of you who do not know what Autobot is, it's a really simple online idea where we are trying to create transparency if you have a car. So basically instead of going down to the local mechanic, you go online and we will provide you with 3 offers and create the transparency that you need in order to get the best possible price. We want to revolutionize the way people fix their cars. Exactly the same way as other industries have been revolutionized by the internet. The time has come.
We are the biggest incubator in the southern region of Sweden, and the only incubator that's actually sold 2 companies to Apple.
Before we do introductions, I have a small story for you. I was, about an hour ago, I was in the bathroom, just over there, and a voice behind me says, "We can't keep meeting like this." I turn around in amazing, and there's a dodgy fella who says, "Do you want to do a presentation?" And it was Rasmus asking me whether I could get on stage. So all disclaimers, I had about 1 hour to get ready for this. But I'd like to thank Rasmus for giving me the opportunity, because being a startup, you have to grab any opportunity you get, and I just got one in the bathroom just before. Because we do quiz games, but our big vision here is really to try and create what we call knowledge.net. It's a community where you can see your own profile of what you know and what you don't know. You will be able to get your own profile, so you'll be able to see which questions you answer, or what you know and what you don't know, basically. So the idea here is to get the users to share these, create a viral effect, and thereby, create a community for everyone that's interested.
For half an hour, the organizers facilitated networking, playing a game called Find the Others, dividing the hall into multiple departments: angels, investors, developers, designers, etc. Basically, they assemble a startup for you. During this time, we talked with some of participants.
Can ITU innovators or Copenhagen For the Win do to keep the expat talent that's coming to the Nordics, to keep it here and provide a good environment for it to grow?
I think the key thing to do it is, we know all these big companies have these matchmaking events, Microsoft and IBM coming out and trying to get all the bright students and say this is the place to work. I think we need to do that too, but for startups. We just have to make the students realize how amazing startups are, and it's not just, I think quite a few students maybe might think that startups don't have money, or just sitting in a basement doing stuff, but that is not the case. And I really believe that we need to show this to students, because as you said yourself, we have quite a few hires every time we host a startup job fair, as we call it, where we bring out startups to brand themselves and try to hijack the talent. I think that's the way to go. Like, really tell them the startups are there, and then you can actually get a student job in a startup. Copenhagen For the Win, for the place to go to if you want to know what's going on in Copenhagen, which most of us do. So we really try and get it out to students, say this is the place to be if you want to go further than just your university. And that's we're really happy about students doing that, and we really advocate people going outside of the university, because this is where the magic happens. A lot of stuff happens at the university, but it really happens here in this very hall.
Yep, I'm working for the startup company called Sharing Gear, and it's a peer-to-peer marketplace for musicians. So it's basically, let's say you have an instrument, if you have your own band or whatever. If you are passionate about music and you have your spare instrument in your storage, whatever, so you can rent it out to anyone who is like, let's say, coming from another city. So those people, they save on like touring costs, and they don't need to take their own gear to this city they are going to play their gig at. So this way they're saving touring costs, and the other party is winning by renting their gear out. The young people, they would really be interested in entrepreneurship as I am, and it's like very valuable experience. So it's a must to do. I mean, if you are into that like business, young entrepreneurship, then you definitely should join ITU Innovators if you are a student of ITU.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea. Now that you got a bit of a taste of the entrepreneurship world, what do you think you're going to do in a couple of years? Are you going to start your own thing, or what are your thoughts about the future?
I mean, that's like a lot of brainstorming going on in my head right now, so I guess that's going to give some kind of birth to idea or whatever. So I'm really looking forward to start something.
Copenhagen Cocoa is our organization for iOS and Mac developers here in Copenhagen. And we organize events, and we have two kinds of events. The first one is NS Coder Night, where we hang out at a cafe in Nørrebro called Cafe Retro every Wednesday. And then we have another event called Cocoa Heads, that is a bigger event every second month, where we have talks by developers, very technical. And if you're an iOS developer and you haven't been to any of our events yet, you should really go to CopenhagenCocoa.com and find the link for meetup.com and go to our next event, that is December 11th.
It's incredibly important that we meet as a community, physically, celebrate success and learn from all our failures.
So we would really love to bring in creative, passionate individuals from the community to come in and help us help you. To that end, we are establishing a community group, and we will be holding the first open community meeting on December 9th at 11 p.m.
We have made a co-working space called Rainmaking Loft in London and in Berlin, and it's been an awesome experience. There are around 200 tech entrepreneurs in both places, and we have a wait list, so we thought, why not do it in our own hometown, Copenhagen. So the 1st of March we are launching this place out on Holmen, 3,000 square meters, where there will be room for 350,000 entrepreneurs working alongside. And what we think will be great about the place is that we're going to have a great campus feel out there, because it's its own building and there's space around it, and it's on an island. Then we are going to have a great community, because there's a lot of people, and we're going to do a lot of events. There are 750 square meters on the top floor that will be used for events. Since we raised more than $500 million in Rainmaking and Startup Bootcamp combined, we have 1,400 mentors across Europe and 124 big companies as our sponsors and partners. All of that we plan to bring into play in Copenhagen Loft, and a 5-star service. We believe that a good co-working space should be a bit like a Marriott hotel. There should be great service, the coolest co-working space in Scandinavia. So you can suggest anything you want there, and we'll take it into consideration. There'll also be a huge party where all of you are invited.
What you do there is you get together with 80 other people from around the world, and you develop an idea which can positively impact the lives of 1 billion people, and it should end up in building a startup. A biochip and a radio transmitter which is actually able to find out whether you have a sexual disease or if you lack nutrition or something, and it will give it to an app so you can always be updated on your health. You don't have to go to the doctor to get a blood sample. That's an example of the kind of ideas that we're looking for, and Søren is right now back in Silicon Valley building a startup around this.